Welcome everybody to another Monday Mindset. This is the Raising Our Resilience group.
Welcome everybody
to
another Monday Mindset.
Many folks are tuning in live on Facebook, and a couple of folks will be joining us here on Zoom as well. So good to have you here. And go ahead and let me know where you're tuning in from and the ages of your kids and where you heard about us. If this is your first time in, we'd love to get connected with you. So we're here today to talk about young kids and gratitude. And again, thank you for your patience if you were hoping to hop on right at noon and there was a delay. We're so glad you're here. So why gratitude with young children? Some would argue that, it's actually really important that we don't tell children when and how and where and how to express their gratitude. And that's because gratitude has often been become an expectation rather than really treated as what it is, which is an emotion, a universal emotion that all human beings have. And so what can sometimes happen is that we can tell kids, the social scripts of when and where and how to express their gratitude, which is important. Like that when you receive something, you say the words thank you. That when you are given something that's of value, that you treat it well. These are great life skills, and I don't want you to discontinue or stop doing those things. But what I want to explore today are authentic, from the inside out experiences of gratitude that children are already having and how to expand upon them. And then also ways to inspire that internal feeling of gratitude and really let your kids lead the way about how they're then going to express their gratitude to others. Now we're in the season of gifts, whether your child received one gift or a whole truckload. This is a great opportunity for you to really tune into what would it look like for my child to tune into that natural gratitude that's already there, or to just spark it up. So again, let me know who's here by saying hello. I've got Jessica here from the Chicago area with 3 kids, 15, 4, and 1. And she really needs help teaching and understanding gratitude. Jessica is studying with us in the year-long immersion program and has been a private client for 6 months. Jessica, so good to have you here. I know a team is here, and maybe we'll be adding to the chat soon. And let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, a team. So good to have you here. All right, so let's dive in. First of all, rule number 1 is whenever you can, try to get away from telling your children that they should feel grateful for something. I call it shoulding all over your children. Like, please don't should gratitude all over your kids. Please stop. Instead of saying, things like, well, you should be grateful. And this is the classic, because there are people starving in name a place. You should be great. You should be more appreciative because some kids don't have any choice. Usually this is coming from a place of frustration and wanting to motivate through guilt. Now, it can work to get the desired behavior you want, where they might start sort of like pause and take a moment to really see what they have. And it can spark some recognition that they, out of perspective taking, that they are fortunate to either have access to something, to have, physical resources, etc. Yes. However, we want to get out of the habit of that being our main way of treating gratitude, because then it wraps it up in sort of a guilty experience, right? A negative emotion. So, right now, just think about a time where you might have done that. You really should be more appreciative of this, or you really shouldn't take this for granted. And as my finger's wagging. And I want you to think about what that time was. Like, what was it that you were hoping your child would be more grateful for? So I want you to think about that for a moment. All of my talks and trainings and my year-long program, my client sessions are very interactive. So let me know, like, what is something that you wished your child was more grateful for? Or maybe you can't think of a specific incident, but you just have something that you notice your child takes for granted that you really feel like they should have more appreciation for. What is it? Share it in the chat. Okay. Even if you're watching the replay, I check back on these all the time. So let me know that you're here with watching the replay, and put what it is that you wish your child was more grateful for or had more appreciation of. Some examples that I've heard are definitely in this season, like toys, right? Like having access to toys, realizing that they have toys they can let go of and give to others so that they can have a new life and a new home. And children who maybe can't afford those toys could have an easier way of buying them used or even gifting them to another family. What else? A lot of times food is another one, when kids are sort of being wasteful with food or not really finishing their food, or ask for more food when they haven't finished the food that's on their plate. And that can really spark up this feeling of like, I wish my kid could appreciate this more. So toys, food are very common. What else? One that's really interesting that came up in a client session recently was that a parent said that my child is not appreciative of my time and attention. And I thought, ooh, that's a good one, right? The fact like they think like you're just endlessly available, interruptible, that you'll drop everything for them. And that if you don't, the negative side of that is that you don't care about them, you're not paying enough attention to them. And they kind of come at you either with that teenage angst that we all know, or with that young kind of pouting or pouting or stomping, or having their tantrum or meltdown, feeling very hurt because they don't have perspective. Okay, so great. Team, good to have you here from Alexandria, Virginia, and you have 3 to 6 year olds in your classroom as a teacher. Excellent. So good to have you. Glad you made it in. So what is something that you wish your children in your environment, the team, or Jessica in your household, that they were more appreciative of? So I gave some examples, right? Toys, food, your time and attention. I want you to have that in mind as I explain a few steps you can take right away to help children really feel authentic gratitude. And I want you to know where this is coming from. I spent 2 years doing research, partly for my master's at St. Catherine University in a Montessori environment, looking at elementary practices in gratitude, and created a whole writer's workshop for elementary kids to share stories of gratitude, to explore the different roles that people were playing in the school community, and really renewing their appreciation for their community, and emboldening strengthening their sense of support, and seeing if it had any effect on their academic achievement and their engagement and their overall satisfaction with school. And the good news was that across all measures, things improved, especially for the kids who started out low. Most of them ended up high. So they had the biggest change. I also spent about a year with the Greater Good Science Center through UC Berkeley's project, Youth Gratitude Project, developing an early childhood curriculum where we really share a lot of stories and concepts with 3 to 6 year olds, helping them to really tune into their grateful feelings and see opportunities to expand upon their great gratitude and express it. And out of that came a curriculum as well for early childhood. A team, if you drop your email in the address in the chat, or anybody else who's a teacher wants to private message me their address, I'd be happy to share the curriculum that matches your level. I'm able to share it with you because it's a grant-based project through UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. So do let me know if you want a copy. All right, so that's where these practices are coming from. And what we found out is that kids actually do universally recognize acts of kindness. And they have certain things for 3 to 6 year olds in particular really stand out to them, which is kind of fun, because what that means is that we can kind of speak their kindness language and help them to notice when others are being kind to them. Really, really exciting. So one of the things that we encourage kids to do is tune into their grateful feelings, notice the goodness in their life, and find ways to express them. Find ways to express them. And one of the ways we can do that is with something called the Wheel of Thanks. Now, the Wheel of Thanks is something we created, and we're able to share in our curriculum that really is based off of what kids naturally already recognize as kindness. Would you like to see it? Yeah, I'd love to share it with you. So these are some of the ways that kids recognize kindness coming to them, and they have natural feelings of gratitude towards, and also will will be able to, let me see if I can pull up the right one. Yeah, great. Also have a chance to feel, to express their appreciation as well. So here it is. Great. Mhm. So these are some things, and the Awesome Friend Award was something that came from the curriculum, but they recognize when somebody gives them a hug, that's a way to express their kindness. When someone's being extra nice or helps them when they need help, like they can't find something, they fell down and need a Band-Aid or an ice pack, those kinds of things. You know, someone helps them plant a flower when they're working on the garden, like offering assistance and being extra nice. This is kids' language, okay? Especially 5 to 6 year olds. Give a high five as a way of like, you know, celebrating some goodness, you know, or saying like, good job, you know, like saying you did a good job by giving a high five. These are ways to show thanks or show kindness. To smile and say thank you for, and actually name what it is that you're thankful for. That's another one that kids can really recognize and also express. They can write a thank you letter. And the other side of that is maybe make a picture and then you write the thank you letter while they tell you what they might want to say. And I have a lot of really special ideas for that I want to share with you. That was a core of what came to be later a writing workshop for the elementary. And making an Awesome Friend Award would just be to like really call out somebody in the community who's on the regular doing great things for the community, whether it's your mail delivery person or somebody that helps with cleaning the school, for example. In the curricula, in the study that I did, the kids ended up thanking the CSA box guy, and they threw him a little party. So first I said, well, why don't we draw, how would you like to, let me back up. First, they told the story. Did you know that our CSA guy actually drives all around town in his big truck, and he makes a special stop at our school? But our school, our stop is one of the few places where he has to take a very long walk down the pathway all the way into the school grounds to drop off the box, carrying the big box of groceries. And then he has to walk all the way to his truck. And he never, ever complains. He always seems to be smiling and happy to do that. What do you think about that? So helping them notice that there's this extra labor that this person's doing. That's the first thing, notice. Having him think about it. Having them think about it. Having the whole classroom in this case think about it. Like, why do you think he smiles about that? It seems like a lot of extra work. And the kids are like, because he's a nice person. You know, another kid puts up their hand like, I'm thinking about your 4-year-old Jessica being like, maybe he likes to stretch his legs, you know, but really thinking about it and saying like, well, I think he likes to see us, you know, I think he likes to see us smile when we get the box. And so they start to kind of put it together that part of the reason why he seems to enjoy this is he gets the chance to connect with the kids. And maybe he does like stretching his legs, who knows? And then you say, like, well, how does that make you feel to know that he does this extra thing of like walking down the path and carrying the big box to us so we don't have to go all the way out to the street to get it? And inevitably the kids will say things like good or like warm inside, makes me feel like hugging him, you know? And that's when you start to get that real authentic gratitude, right? Because you help them to notice, help them to think about it, and help them to tune into how they feel. Really different. Notice the difference between saying, we should really make him a thank you card for all that extra work he does, comes from like an already done opinion, right? Like a foregone conclusion that you have noticed and you've thought about it and you felt grateful, but you didn't really lead the children through that experience to really tune into their natural gratitude. Okay. So notice, think, and feel. And then the golden question, and this is really important that we really do give it over to the children first whenever possible, is what would you like to do to share your gratitude with him? And you get quiet. And that's where, if they get stumped, you can say, well, why don't we go take a look at the Wheel of Thanks? And yes, attainment is part of the elementary or the preschool curriculum that I'm giving to you. It's a printable in the back. So you'll get a copy that you can use, and even one that is like a black and white copy that you can color with your kids. Yeah, so it's like, what do you think? What do you think we can do to share our grateful feelings with him, or to share our happiness or our gladness or whatever it is they've said, share our appreciation. And the kids inevitably will pick something. And one I didn't mention that's on the list on the wheel is share a treat. So if you let kids pick off the wheel, guess which one they pick the most? Share a treat, because guess what they get to do? Make a treat and get to eat a treat, hopefully too. So they're more likely to say, let's bake him some cookies than let's give him a high five. However, sometimes that's not an option. And you say, what else could we do? And then they'll choose something else. So this class decided to create a thank you book and drew pictures of him doing the little, amongst a lot of fruit. And another kid drew a picture of him holding a box. And they made a little booklet of these like thank you pictures. And a couple of kids even wrote words like, thank you for your help, or thank you for the long walk. And then they decided we should make this into a book. So you're just like letting the kids' creativity and enthusiasm naturally take them somewhere great, which is different than saying, putting them down in front of some cards and saying, it's time to write thank you cards, which no problem, you can absolutely do. But I'm just inviting you to explore the notice, think, feel, and do, and seeing what comes from them. And you can even say, well, I have some blank cards. Maybe it could be fun to make one of those, and bring the cards in after you help them tune into what to notice what happened, to think about it, to feel, tune into their feelings, and choose something they want to do. So how did this go? Well, the children, next time they saw him, surprised him. Like I said, they threw a party for him, because one child wanted to do the drawing, another child wanted to write the words, another child wanted to do another drawing. They made a little booklet, they decorated the booklet. And then one child, after doing a cutting exercise with like scissors and paper, had a bunch of little papers and said, oh, let's make confetti. And of course the teacher's like, and let's make sure we clean up. Like, yes, we'll clean up. So cut those into tiny little pieces. And then when he came to the door, boy, did he have a surprise. They went, yay! And they threw the confetti up in the air and they said, we love that you take the walk from the gate all the way to the door to bring us our fruits and vegetables. And then another kid's like, here's your book. We made you a book, gave him the book. And it was like the sweetest thing. And it came from such an authentic place, as you can imagine, because the kids were truly joyful. They were truly excited. They were truly feeling these feelings of goodness and kindness when they performed this act of gratitude and appreciation. Why do I share this story? Just so it's something that sticks in your mind about what's possible if you have kids notice, think, feel, and do. And one of the best things you can do right now in this training, and in any training with me, I always have my students do this, my parent clients, especially in the immersion program, is write down that golden sequence, okay? Notice, think, feel, do. Go ahead and write it down on a note for yourself, put it in the chat. So, we should have this come in several times in the replay as well. Okay, go ahead and do that. And that way it'll really stick with you. Because if you help kids notice the goodness, you help them think about where the goodness came from and the person that's usually behind the goodness coming into their lives, and you have them tune into how they feel, and then ask them what would they like to do about that, so much is possible. So go ahead and write in the chat, notice, think, feel, do. And Deanna, another one of my smart, big-hearted parent clients, is here. Hi, Deanna. Tuning in from Maryland with her teens. Yes, teens and 20-year-old. Right, so this is also possible, even though this is geared more towards young children. Anybody who's listening here who has a teen or a tween, or an in-between, like 8 to 10-year-old, 7 to 10-year-old, think about how this can be adapted to an older child. The second part of my story would be that I also went into several elementary communities and also taught at national conferences. I was flown out to China to teach this, to Bulgaria to teach this curriculum about motivating kids and having them feel more connected and engaged at school through gratitude curriculum. And what we ended up really focusing on was being able to write your very own story about a time in your life that you felt grateful, and just kind of roll through some simple ideas, a lot like notice, think, feel, and do. Like notice what did the person do, or how did they help you? What did they give you? How did you benefit from that? So this is like noticing and thinking through. What do you think they might have given up in order for this good thing, this goodness to come to you in terms of time, energy, money, missed opportunity, like maybe they skipped something to be able to go to the store to find the thing. What effort did they put in? And now, what do you think that means about them as a person? So this is a little bit more sophisticated, right? So what do we now know about, let's say, Uncle George? Uncle George went to 3 different stores to find the toy that you really liked. He spent a whole afternoon doing it. He really wanted you to have this particular Lego set because you love, let's say the medieval castles. So you wanted to find a medieval themed Lego set. And he thought you would get a lot of fun and enjoyment out of that, and maybe even like learn more about your, enhance your building skills. And he couldn't wait to see your face light up when you open the present. What do we now know about Uncle George? Seems like Uncle George is a really thoughtful person. And this is what kids will come up with, they'll say, and especially ages 6 and up: thoughtful, kind, considerate, resourceful, loving, yeah, generous, all kinds of words. I've like filled a whole wall full of words that, as kids are reflecting on the kindnesses that others have been giving them and coming towards them, the goodness. And then you say, okay, so we know that Uncle George wanted you to have this medieval Lego set because he knows how much you love it. We know that he went to 3 stores and spent a bunch of time, effort, and money on this gift, and that he is a kind, thoughtful, resourceful, and generous person. Now, how would you like to show Uncle George gratitude that's the same size gratitude of like the gift he gave you and the thoughtfulness of him? Because a lot of times what we end up with are teenagers who go, oh, thanks, and they don't really follow up on it, on their how grateful they really are, even though their benefit is huge, right? They're getting this big gift, but they're only giving this much gratitude. So I like to ask, like, what would be a similar size thank you to the size of gift? And that's where the do comes in, but it's a more sophisticated question for older kids. And those of you who are my clients, I'm going to actually I've given you the gratitude story questions that you can follow. So you can roll right through that conversation really easily with your older children. Sometimes too, they don't want to do it in a conversation. They don't want to talk to you about it. Like they just don't want to do it. It's like, they say that the key to raising a teen or tween is listening, creating a lot of opportunities to share space and listen. So they might find this a little bit too scripted, a little bit too teachery, a little bit too this or that. But what you can do is introduce it into the family system through things like family meetings, or just having it printed out next to the stack of thank you cards, modeling it out loud. There's a lot of other ways besides directly teaching your teens and tweens and walking them through it. However, sometimes you just hand it to them and say like, hey, like this could help. I want, curious what you come up with. Other times you can actually like have it be something that you each like talk through at a family meeting or dinner or something like that. And what ends up happening, our kids, right, is that kids make these amazing thank you cards. They make these amazing thank yous, gratitude stories, and they start to build up a sense that there are many human beings in their life who love, care, and appreciate them. And that they are a part of the community that is in support of them being healthy, of them being successful, of them being happy, of them having fun, of them, feeling good. And with that is one of the biggest resilience factors in terms of children feeling that they're loved and supported by warm, caring, and demanding adults, is one of the biggest predictors of children's outcomes in their teenage and young adult years. Things like GPA, life satisfaction, even getting into the college of their choice, having better friendships, and being more kind of self-possessed and more confident in the face of negative risk behaviors, high risk behaviors. Also tend to have less anxiety and depression in adolescence. All things that all parents and all caregivers would love to have for all children. So one of the ways, and this is one of many ways that we explore across the year-long Family Foundations immersion, which doors are open right now. We're looking for, another batch of really great fit parents to join our immersion program right now. We have a great community of already 16 families that are learning together, and would love to, hear if you have anybody in your world that you think could benefit from relationship boosting practices, being able to smooth out their routines and get to school and bed on time, being able to set limits that calmly and confidently that really stick and create that kind of collaborative relationship with their other family members and their children to really feel like they're on the same team. Send them my way, invite them to this group. If you're in the Raising Our Resilience group, share my name and email with them. It can be that simple. I'll put my email in the chat of the Zoom as well. It's raisingourresilience@gmail.com. And I also do some low cost and free workshops to schools several times a year. I create partnerships with preschools and elementary schools all around the country where I provide workshops like this and more. So if there's somebody in your community that you can pass along that information to, we'd be so grateful. It would really help us set up for a great 2022, and you'll be helping a bunch of families. Our goal is to reach 1,000 families this year, 1,000 new families this year. Last year, we reached about 800, so it's very exciting. And we're going for 1,000 this year. All right, well, so notice, think, feel, and do, and really consider exploring the different ways that kids can show gratitude and appreciation, that it's not just limited to 2 words. Thank you. Yeah, it can have so many more ways that they show their gratefulness and their appreciation. If you're a client and you're listening, we're going to get into love languages as well as character strengths, other ways to really boost relationships, conflict resolution, all kinds of really important skills and communication skills that help to also strengthen and repair relationships, so that no matter what the status of your connection is with each of the children in your classroom environment, a team, or the children in your household, Jessica, Deanna, and the others that are listening, you can start right where you are and improve things incrementally to make permanent changes in the culture of your classroom or home. I've seen it done over and over again by dozens of parents who commit 6 months to a year to changing, and caregivers to changing things powerfully. And it's so exciting what happens on the other end. So if gratitude is something you want to bring in to this next year, I would challenge you and lovingly invite you to, within the next week, have a conversation, or even model yourself doing this if the conversation doesn't look like it's going to happen with your teen or tween. Noticing, thinking, feeling, and doing in a way that your kid gets to witness. With your students, a team, you might just recognize one person in your community the way that the CSA box guy that brought the farm fresh vegetables and fruits to the kids did in your environment. Like, who is your CSA guy that you could recognize? And just do the notice, think, feel, and do with the kids, and come back and let us know what happens. Come back next week. We'll be back here Monday at noon next week. We'll do a little tie-in of gratitude pieces, but then I'm going to shift over to talking about powerful ways to motivate kids with using fewer rewards and punishments and more of what we call intrinsic motivation. Notice today, we actually did a motivation hack for expressing gratitude, didn't we? Yeah. By engaging the children in noticing, thinking, and feeling before telling them that they had to do something with their gratitude and appreciation. It's a natural, intrinsically motivating path to really pro-social behaviors and beautiful, grateful practices. So tip of the iceberg on gratitude, but the most important stuff, the stuff that I want each and every one of you to have. Let me know what your takeaways were in the chat or the comments. Even if you're on the replay, I want to know, what is it that you're walking away with? And that helps everybody in this space to learn and grow. Okay, so, and if a team, it's not this week, as soon as you do have the opportunity to do it, go ahead and share. And then the replays will be through my newsletter. I usually post a replay to the Facebook and to the YouTube replay. So a team, let's make sure that you're on my newsletter list. I'll send you a link to go ahead and sign up if you're not. And then other than that, you can come back anytime on Mondays at noon and join us. A team had asked about maybe not being able to log in because a team will be in class next Monday at noon. We think about that. We know not everybody's available on a Monday at noon. So that's why we have a community in the Raising Our Resilience parent group, which I can also share that with you, a team. So that's the first thing I'll share. You can join the Facebook group. And then the other thing you can do is go ahead and sign up for our weekly newsletter that often links to these videos on YouTube. All right, folks. So let me know if there's any questions or any other ways that I can support you in the chat or comments, and your takeaway. So I'm going to see if anybody wrote a takeaway on Facebook real quick. Yeah, both Jessica and Deanna are saying notice, think, feel, do. And they really like those two. Exclamation points from both of you. Nice. Deanna and Jessica. Awesome. Great. All right. So team, hopefully you got everything that you need and we will be in touch. I'll grab your email address to send you the curriculum. No problem. So happy to do that. Yeah, again, it was funded by the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley's Youth Gratitude Project, which was funded by the John Templeton Foundation, which invested millions of dollars of bringing gratitude into all kinds of spaces. If any of you are a member of Kaiser, you might see a lot of gratitude walls and gratitude initiatives there. That was John Templeton Foundation, and they brought it into many spaces. So we're so lucky to have had this resource. All right, lots of love to you all. Until next week, see you then. Be well and go gratefully. See if there's something that you can tune into that you are grateful for, that you can notice, think, feel, and do, and share that with your children, and you're off to a stellar start of the year. Lots of love. Till next time.